Hey, I'm Maria back with another video. It is 1:12 p.m. I believe today is Wednesday. I think so. Anyway, it's kind of hard to keep track of all the days, but yeah, I believe it is Wednesday. Which today I'm supposed to go in and pick up my new cell phone, which this is the second time it's been replaced. It's kind of crazy. My cell phone kept shutting itself off and restarting it again, and then eventually it just wouldn't even turn on. So I kept thinking, what is going on with this? I don't know. Anyway, nothing lasts forever, I suppose, but I'll have to go and pick my cell phone up. So I have the flu, which I'm not exactly happy about. Yesterday I was hoping I'd feel better, and then I went to bed last night and ended up sleeping. I went up to bed like around 12 last night. No, did I? Was it 12? Maybe it was a little earlier than that. And then I got up around 3, then went back to bed, and then got up at around 8, and then I went back to bed, and didn't get up till like 12:42. So I just recently got up again. So I will tell you that whatever. I mean, this is definitely the flu. I mean, I'm sneezing. I've got the mucus. I got the gross stuff going on. I'm not happy about it. My body temperature feels very warm. So I'm looking outside and I'm like, I don't even think I need to wear a jacket or anything because I feel very, very warm. So I'm really trying to get better. I usually make up my bed when I first get up in the morning, but I know that, later on in the day I'm probably going to crawl right back in it. So it's just one of those days, and these kind of days, I'll tell you, always is kind of like weird to me, because it's so off from my regular schedule. But this morning I was thinking about the subject again of stalking and the dangers of it. Like I said, I don't like to make assumptions, but I do kind of suspect that, the the crush that I have on this guy, is, that I've had for years actually, is behind it. And I can't say that I fault somebody for wanting to do something like that, because it's a very tempting thing to do. Like if I didn't understand how the whole employment system worked, I probably myself would do something like that. But when it comes to employers, they should never get involved with stuff like that, no matter how well intentioned, because oftentimes it does result in a very traumatic experience for a woman. I was thinking about some of the women. There's a lot of women. There's thousands of women who are in this situation right now. And, many of them don't even know who their perps are, or their perps or their so-called secret admirers are. Some of these people may have seen them maybe once or twice. Some of these people could be their neighbors. Some of these people could be, people, just random people. And imagine being reserved for somebody that you don't know, that you could very well look at and say, I'm not interested in that person. So that, think of all the years or time that you could be wasting on a person that you didn't want in the first place. Now in this case, if it is indeed the guy that I've always liked, well, that's all very well and good, because I've always liked him. But think about the women who are in that situation where it's not so rosy. So really, employers really shouldn't ever get involved in things like that. I was thinking also about some of the jobs that I was assigned that were below my skill level, that really to me were very demoralizing to go to, particularly the last job that I went to. I could have somehow gotten along better if it wasn't for the stupid secretary. She just could not stop her bullshit. And the owner of the company was extremely passive and basically turned a blind eye to this woman, which obviously, when I let him know that I was being stalked, or I was a victim of domestic stalking, I felt as though the entire thing was inappropriate and wrong, okay? Then, of course, I was constantly being nudged to make sure I got to work, go to work, And the whole anytime you're dealing with a stalking situation, oftentimes because of the hostility that's surrounded in your environment, many people get sick. I attached some articles yesterday on this subject relating to the workplace harassment and how oftentimes people take time off from work because it is extremely traumatizing. So that was a nightmare job, I will have to say. Okay, I've held on to it as long as I possibly could because I needed the job. I needed work. Okay, but I will say that the job didn't pay what I really needed it to pay. And it's my choice. It's my choice what I'm supposed to make. It's my choice what I'm supposed to do for a living. And some people might think, and I don't know why I'm assuming this. Some people might think, well, you seem very, hardworking and diligent and everything. And some people might think, well, you just need to have more time for fun. And maybe you need to have a job that's more, it's going to allow you to do things, that you, other things. But once again, you're dealing with people who are making up your mind for you. They don't know what you need in order to survive, And in cases where you have a secret admirer, these sort of things really need to be discussed between the two individuals, and that's the only way, you could really formulate any sort of life plan or life goal, So, I'm not angry with him, but I am saying that I'm very angry with my previous employers, as well as, the employers that would call me in and waste my time, because I don't have time for that. I don't. Especially when I'm innocent. Especially when I'm looking around in an environment where I've seen, so many what I would consider to be not criminal, but more things that people do that take place in the workplace that they shouldn't be doing. I would say unethical behavior that people do on a continual basis. It's wrong, it's wrong. But I did feel like I was being forced into that job, and I didn't. That right there was a feeling that really brought me into a feeling, just a very depressive feeling, So I went to work every day, and I didn't want to have any sort of what I call stimulation from the people at work, because when you're in a situation where you're in a job where it's very demoralizing, you don't want to have any sort of association with any of the people there at all. Mainly because, you feel as though you're being shortchanged, because I feel I have more skills than a lot of people have, and more abilities, more understanding of a lot of things that relate to administrative business work, or whatever you want to call it. And I shouldn't be manipulated or forced into something that really doesn't suit me. That doesn't mean that I have to work in that kind of do that kind of line of work, but whatever, it should be something that I choose, and it should be fitting my skill level. It was a horrible place for me. Horrible experience from day one. And you basically feel like you have no choice but to take that job. And that's not what anybody should ever have to do. They should never feel like they have to do something like that. Also, for the women who are being stalked by people that they have no idea, you've got employers that are willing to participate in something like that. And once again, the woman ends up suffering because, like right now, you have bills to pay. You're wondering what you're going to do. You're the one who's, just stressed out. And then what? Where's your compensation? How does, there's many reasons why this is illegal, okay? But I could see who this hurts more than anybody. It hurts the victim. The victim is the person who is always in a tight spot. I did get a notification from the IRS relating to my taxes that were owed in 2015. I don't know if maybe the collective scraped up some money and sent them money and paid it off. but it was a notification saying that my tax bill for that year has been paid. Which, of course, I saved it. I should frame it, okay? Really is what I should do. I'm not exactly sure who took care of that bill, okay? But I'm very grateful that, the balance is zero. But I still need to check and see if there's anything else I owe the IRS, because I don't want to mess with them. It's not something, believe me, I am not somebody who supports the IRS. I don't believe in their crap. I don't like it at all. But at the same time, it's kind of like what the Bible says, pay Caesar what's due Caesar. I do what I'm supposed to do. And I don't like dealing with those kind of organizations, But, it does relieve me a little bit. But in actuality, my tax bill is just the tip of the iceberg. When I think of what these people have taken from me, they really owe me more, just based on the mental stress, the demoralizing jobs that were assigned to me, the harassment that I had to deal with at the workplace, as well as the stupid job interviews that I went to. I didn't ask for any of this, I didn't ask for any of it. I resent it, And so, I was thinking, I don't want to see any of these people again, ever. There's no justification for what happened. None. I don't care what their excuse was. There was no reason for what happened. And there's no excuse for what happens to a lot of women who are put in this situation. Like I said, it is understandable. For example, if somebody said you can manipulate this adorable guy's, employment, so where you could, have him work at a certain place, and that way you could kind of keep track of him, whatever. I probably would have done something like that many years ago, but I fully do understand that these sort of things are a violation of a person's right. I think about it that way, and also I understand employment laws, so I wouldn't do that, okay? But it's understandable how somebody would want to do that. From an employment standpoint, how people get involved in this sort of stuff, I can't understand it. I can't. Especially when people claim to be knowledgeable in their field, and that's the biggest issue. And, oh my gosh, excuse me, this is so crazy. I'm hoping this is the last day of my flu, what do they call it, 24-hour flu? Some people call it 48 hours. Whatever, I want to be done with it, okay? Because I don't like it, I wake up in the morning and I'm just coughing and sneezing and everything. I knew something was going on yesterday when all that stuff was happening. But anyway, or 2 days ago, I should say. So anyway, today I'm not looking for work, but I have to resume my work search, okay? My time is running out. And you could understand why I'm frustrated, because I've been pushed away from something that I'm familiar with. I do also resent it when people say things like, well, you need to get out of your comfort zone. To me, that is it's like an oxymoron. Okay, why would you want to do something that makes you feel uncomfortable? You know what I mean? Why would you want to do something that is so foreign to you that you don't like? And that's where a lot of employers really get messed up. They end up getting the wrong people and putting them in the wrong situations, and that's not good. Believe it or not, just because, I think I'm a pretty good conversationalist or whatever, doesn't mean that that's what I want to do for a living. I'm very comfortable behind a computer. I'm very comfortable behind that, and that's what I like to do. I don't, I'm not somebody who wants to greet the public. I'm not somebody who wants to be out there. Although, and I haven't been put in situations like that, but that's just an example. Like, for example, sometimes people say, well, you need to do this. I was assigned a customer service job that, from the day when I first woke up in the morning, I was just shrouded in depression. I went there, and I guess they could sense that I just did not want to be there at all. So, not that I was trying to show it deliberately, but I went there one day, and that was it, And I had just gotten off of unemployment, and that job was offered to me. And then I had to wait a little bit longer, and then I ended up getting assigned a job over at the place, the last job, which really was horrible from day one. It was horrible from day one. You know, really, you know, I shouldn't have to deal with any of that bullshit. I really shouldn't. It is extremely stressful, and it's extremely demoralizing. For whatever reason, why somebody would think that I'd want to work for such a little bit of such a small amount of pay after I've been working in accounting for 20 years. And also, I think that job was more entry level than anything else, which was boring for me. It was extremely boring for me. It didn't do anything for me at all, except for just frustrate me, depress me, and then when I got home, I never felt like I was really settled, you know. Work means a lot to me, because in the past when I was growing up, you know, I worked different kinds of jobs, you know, like I worked fast food jobs, and of course when you're younger, I worked in a convalescent home when I was younger. All of those jobs were kind of, well, they were horrible, okay, they were just horrible, but it allowed me to understand that, you know, I'm very picky about what I do for work, okay, and I realized the kind of effects that it had on my mood. You know, it affects my mood, and to me, my job, the kind of work I do, matters to me. It's not like it should be your whole life, because it's not, okay, but it is your foundation. It does lay down, you know, for me anyway, it does set the tone for, you know, how my mood is going to be. Because if you spend 8 hours of work, a day at work, in a place that you don't like, with people that you don't like, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect you. And, you know, I'm the kind of person, you know, I'm comfortable. Getting out of your comfort zone is the stupidest thing anybody has ever said in my entire life. Just like, you know, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Just like other things that people say, you know, like, that they do, like looking at your Facebook page and thinking that has something to do with your personality. It doesn't. A lot of things that people do when it relates to employment are not only foolish, but when you really look down on it, it would also create other problems that would be a violation of a person's rights. Now, I did mention my last Facebook page back in 2008. No activity really on it, not really. So what these people were really gossiping about was bullshit, you know. And I'm assuming that there's a lot of people's lives that are being turned upside down based on Facebook. I know I've read several articles and blogs and stuff about people complaining about how their life has just become a nightmare based on Facebook. You know, how people can't go to school because their kids are getting harassed because of some bullshit on Facebook. You know, and Facebook is not where you can gather any real information on a person, okay? And really, if I was somebody looking at my Facebook page from that time period, I would kind of take myself out to be something of a wallflower, considering the fact that I was rarely on it, very little activity even occurred on my Facebook page. Then, you know, I think that's the conclusion that I would draw, basically. Now I have a Facebook page, and there's, you know, I have like a bunch of Facebook people that connect all the time, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that there was so much hoopla, I guess, built around my name at that time. You know what I mean? So you know, you might end up being a Facebook star and not know it. You know, and when I say a Facebook star, I'm not saying it in a positive way. I'm just saying you might be a well-known person based on being on social media, you know, and I think the reason why most of these people connect with me is because of that. I don't know most of these people. Most of them, well, I would say a lot of them are like